So, my review on the Mark IV 1300cc Triumph Spitfire after 2 months and 1,000 miles in the driving seat. What can I say? It's noisy, it's rattly, it's shaky, it's very thirsty, it's not the fastest acceleration in the world, it's not the quickest car in the world, it's not the most comfortable ride in the world, it's not the most comfortable seats in the world. It's absolutely marvellous. Imagine strapping yourself into something that just seems to be the fastest thing you've ever been in, because it seems about 25 miles an hour faster than the speedo reads. Imagine strapping yourself into something that you feel every piece of the road, that you feel every note of the engine, that you feel every turn of the rack and pinion steering, that where you turn the wheel, it goes. You don't have that sponginess or that nonsense that you get from sort of enhanced steering in a modern car, you know, power assisted nonsense, all that spongy feel. This, you turn the wheel and that turns the wheels and you go. You put your foot down and it goes. You pull the brake up and it stops. You put your foot on the other brake and it eventually stops. You put your foot on the clutch and make sure it's down far enough, and you might be able to crank your arm far enough across to get the gears into the right position without crunching things. You need to make sure you've got clutch fluid topped up so that you can put things into gear without having to stop the car. You need to make sure that your oil is checked and topped up. You need to check that your coolant is topped up. These are all things that on a modern car seem to have kind of fallen by the wayside. My trusty old Vauxhall Astra that I had for 10 years, I topped up with oil perhaps 3 times. It's not something I ever needed. This seems to be something with the Spitfire. I mean, I've never ever in my life had to top up clutch fluid, and I'm doing it on a weekly basis. So there must be a leak somewhere. So I get pissed off other people on the road. Likewise, the coolant in the radiator. Started off, there was probably a lot more water than coolant in there, so, you know, as it boiled off, which it seems to do day by day because it's fairly warm in the summer, I topped it up with premixed coolant till it was pretty much, I guess, just coolant. Put quite a lot in there. Still burnt off a little bit, so I put some Radweld in there, and since then I've not had to top it up, so that was about a month ago. So what jobs have I done on it? I did have full radius velocity stacks, trumpets as they're known, on the twin Solex carbs that I've got in the engine bay. These, however, despite sounding amazing and roaring and developing a lot of power, did have a tendency to use a lot of fuel and could quite possibly have sucked weasels or rabbits or what have you into my engine. I guess from the state of the engine bay over the last couple of months, it was probably sucking in a fair bit of crud anyway. Dirt, water, you name it. Just some general driving. So I ordered normal velocity stacks, which I popped on the carbs, and air filters, which I popped on the carbs as well. I'm getting a nicer, deeper grumble now. Still pulling lots of power. I do need to have the timing adjusted and the carbs probably set up. What else? I had the inside door handle snap, so I had to replace that. Got one of those off eBay. I had to remove the soft top to have the rear windscreen replaced. Still waiting for that to come back. At the moment I've got the hard top on, which turns it into a bit of a coupe or a GT or what have you. It's alright, pretty much fits. Doesn't fit perfectly because over the last 44 years I would guess the car has twisted somewhat. Apart from that, I haven't had to do anything. 12 years off the road, 1,000 miles, and it hasn't required anything done to it, really. It's remarkable. Looks like I've got a good, solid, trustworthy Spitfire here. So, what are the pros and cons? The pros are, I walk out of the house, I see it, and I smile, and I grin, and I just want to jump into it. The handling is amazing. The ride is fun. The noise is fantastic. The whole experience, despite the discomfort and the noise, is fantastic. What are the cons? Well, it's doing half the mileage that my proper car has got, as in miles per gallon. It's no, that's it. Yeah.